Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is John Viglotti. On behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you joined us for the Clean and Renewable Energy Conference. We kick off today with a live presentation from Carnegie Clean Energy. Please note you can submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides, and you can also view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings through the Scheduled Meetings tab found on the conference platform. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Jonathan Fahey. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Carnegie Clean Energy Limited, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol CWGYF and on the ASX under the symbol CCE. Welcome, Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thanks everyone for joining. And good morning to those in North America, which I assume is, I guess, a majority of the listenership. And it's great, really, to be presenting, I think, to a lot of new investors, new potential investors in the company. So just a little bit about Carnegie. We're quite a mature technology company, and we're all about unlocking the vast power of the ocean. And we do that with our CETO technology. I'd just like to clarify a bit about wave energy. What we're talking about are the waves that you might effortlessly see lift up a cruise ship of 100,000 tons. These are immensely powerful natural forces that we've taken on the job of harnessing and converting into electricity. And something else that's really important about waves and quite a unique feature is the fact that they're very consistent and very predictable. Unlike a lot of variable renewables, you can predict them a long way out. And at good wave sites, there are waves all year round, every hour, which is quite an important feature. And our sort of view of it is, when has humanity never, or when has humanity ignored such an accessible resource? We feel like it's just a case of when, not if, wave energy will be captured commercially, and those with the best technology will be hugely successful. So yeah, we're at an important point, I suppose, in our development. It's really critical to see that cost coming down, to see the uptake going up, and that's really about the downward trajectory that we've seen in other technologies. If you look at the way solar and wind have come down the cost curve, even before them, natural gas. Technologies do that when they scale, when they're deployed en masse. So that is entirely the case with emerging technologies like wave energy. And we, along with other organisations like Ocean Energy Europe, for instance, predict gigawatts of wave energy in the not too distant future as it comes down that curve. So a little bit more about the company itself. We are the owner of the intellectual property that secures the CETO technology, our core technology. We're based, headquartered in Australia, but we have a number of subsidiaries, particularly in Europe, which is a major centre for ocean energy. As a result of a previous project, we also own a 2 megawatt solar battery facility that is providing power to the Department of Defence on Garden Island in Western Australia. So yeah, we've got quite a history and quite a footprint, and that serves us well in doing what we need to do. So I think for the next slide, we'll dive a bit deeper into the technology itself. And, really it's, as you see on the screen, the CETO is the core technology, and it's formed by a large buoy or buoy, as you might call it, that sits close to the surface under the waves, and it's moved around just like the water in a wave in an orbital fashion. And that kinetic energy transforms into mechanical energy and then into electrical energy through the power takeoff. And you can see in the image 3 belts entering the base of the buoy, and those belts run on drums which are in the 3 power takeoffs. And these are the devices that convert that motion into electrical energy. Something that's really critical to understand about CETO compared to other wave energy technologies is that our technology is fully submerged. So we sit close to the surface, but under the surface. And what that gives us is very limited visual impact. So people at the beach or on the hillside nearby, they won't see our devices. So we can install close to the shore and not have that sort of visual amenity loss that is problematic for a lot of installations like offshore wind and so forth. The other benefit of being fully submerged is that breaking waves that you get in storm situations don't have the damaging effects that they might have if you're a floating object on the surface. So, I guess ships and other structures that penetrate the surface will be exposed to breaking waves, which are very hard to predict in terms of the forces that they exert. The other thing that is really unique and very exciting for us is the introduction of artificial intelligence as a means to control the device. So we have, as you see, 3 connections that come from the seabed. So there's anchors on the seabed that come up and transform into the belts that go into the buoy. And through those connections to the seabed, the control system can manage the buoy in terms of its angle and its resistance. So in that way, it can capture more energy because no 2 waves are really the same. And the classical way to do it is to tune to the sea state, to the general condition of the sea. But what we do, in fact, is use artificial intelligence to learn about the waves and to adapt to every single wave and extract the most energy. And that's really key in bringing down that cost of energy, is bringing up the energy captured. And we do, in developing the artificial intelligence, we work with Hewlett-Packard, and that's been an amazing partnership that's yielded this very unique controller. Just going back to the market in wave energy, I mean, one of the things that's really clear is that 70% of the Earth is covered by oceans. So, and if you look at the calculations on how much energy is there, it's astronomical. It's really beyond what humans consume or could perceivably consume in the future. So there's an undeniable resource. The resource is very prevalent on the western side of the US and South America, Africa, West and Southern Australia, the Pacific Islands, Japan. It's very prevalent across the globe, and of course the big consumers are often near the coast, so it fits in well in that respect. In terms of what's being predicted by experts, we see the European Commission being very proactive in predicting where the uptake will be and by how much, and their latest predictions 40 gigawatts of power by 2050, which is a huge amount. So it's happening. The European Union is a major driver behind the development of this technology. There's obvious reasons why they would be, for like geopolitical reasons, particularly at the moment. But it's not just them. I mean, if you look internationally, we have IRENA, who are the International Renewable Energy Agency, making predictions of 350 gigawatts by 2050. So that's really significant. And, the EU and international players, they can see the benefits, as I mentioned, the geopolitical aspect, this sort of security of supply, also just the jobs and the industry that it brings if you have this new technology operating in your region. So we have these technologies, and as I said, the key technology is CETO, but Carnegie has a suite of technologies, and the core kind of technology sub-technology is really this power takeoff that I talked about before, converting motion into electricity. And we've been able to develop other applications for that power takeoff. One in particular is our More Power system, which is for aquaculture feed barges and other offshore infrastructure that can convert the motion of the vessel into electricity. I'll talk about that more. We also have a wave predictor as well. And what the wave predictor does is it feeds the prediction of the waves that are coming into our control system, and then allows the control system to make much better decisions about how to extract the most energy from every wave. So that's a key part, but it's also an opportunity to spin off because there's other benefits for wave prediction in offshore safety and other activities in the ocean, defence and so forth, that can benefit from having that foresight into what's coming. So just talk a bit more about the CETO development process and how we're commercialising that technology. So we are part of a Europe Wave program, and Europe Wave is a competitive program. It started with 36 wave energy companies like us vying for position and a contract. And we went through a process of a phase one process of design and testing, and then phase two. We've recently been awarded a phase three contract, which is the major contract to go and deliver a prototype in the Basque Country in Spain, so in the Bay of Biscay there, at the north of Spain. And what was particularly pleasing was the fact that of those 36, by the time we got to phase three, our bid was ranked number one. So through all the testing and everything, these panel of experts assessed all the work that had been done, and we achieved that number one ranking, which is fantastic because it's the criteria is cost of energy, performance, reliability, survivability, all the things that we really feel like our technology delivers in superior to other technologies. So that was a brilliant validation of all the work we'd done. We're now a few months into that phase three. We're targeting a deployment in the Basque Country of the device you see on the screen there in the middle of next year. We've got a growing team in Spain, mainly in Bilbao, to deliver that project. And what is really key about that project is the fact that the major utilities that are going to support the future arrays and wave farms the ones that are the most progressive are really there in that Western Europe area. So it's fantastic as a showcase, and in our mind and in the mind of EuropeWave, that's their objective as well, is that this will be the project that unlocks the first sort of wave farms in the world. Additionally, we've actually had some recent funding come in from the Spanish government to further support this program and enhance the program that we've already developed through EuropeWave. So yeah, that's how we're developing CETO. Next, we'll talk a little bit more about More Power. So what you see in the image there is our scale demonstrator on the bottom left. So what it is, it's as I said before, it's really the power takeoffs from CETO coming onto a barge, and the barge's motion is then converted into electricity for use on the barge. So this project really is targeting aquaculture feed barges, and these are very large barges, well over 100 feet, hundreds of tons of food on board to feed the fish, often Atlantic salmon. And yeah, so this is a demonstrator project that's been recently deployed, and again, we're using it as a showcase to really demonstrate to the future customers that this is possible, and will deliver them decarbonisation of their diesel generators, where the other alternatives are very minimal. I mean, really, they're not sure how they can possibly decarbonise in any other way. So this is a great opportunity. It's been supported by an Australian government group called the Blue Economy CRC, and the consortium of partners includes some very key stakeholders. So yeah, as I say, this commercialisation process is really about demonstrating what can be done at a smaller scale, and then scaling up to the commercial barge opportunity. So, and that's really critical. And a huge opportunity globally, because while Australia has a large aquaculture industry, it's actually much smaller than Norway and Canada, Chile. There's some much bigger players, and a huge opportunity for us to sell this technology to those operators. Of course, we can't deliver all this without some really important partners, and there's a select number here. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, as I mentioned, have been critical in developing the artificial intelligence or reinforcement learning controller that we use. We demonstrate it for the first time, we think, ever in a wave energy converter in our recent Spain tank testing. So that's been an incredible relationship that we have. We have a signed agreement with them to collaborate. EuropeWave, as I mentioned, is obviously the proponent behind this competition that we won, and has provided almost €4 million in support. NREL is a recent one, and a name that may be familiar to people listening. It's basically the National Energy Labs of the US. So they have a number of programs to support wave energy, and that's growing because the US interest in wave energy is growing significantly as well, with a new testing site in Oregon coming on steam. So we've recently received some funding from NREL to work together with other groups developing new techniques for understanding how extreme waves work and how they interact with our system. Tassal and Huon, they're the largest salmon farmers in Australia, and the Blue Economy CRC is Australian government-supported group that is a centre that brings together all these groups, academia, government and industry, to work on renewable energy in the ocean. We are getting some good attention from the work we're doing. There's a number of articles that have been published recently, and some historical, many historical ones as well. And that's really great validation for the work we're doing, and it's great to sort of bring along the public with our story and what we're about. So in summary, we have three kind of main projects. The Achieve program, as I mentioned, is deploying our CETO technology in Europe, going into the water, targeting middle of next year. We have those two contracts in place with both Europe Wave and enhanced by the Spanish government support. We also have the More Power demonstrator that we've just deployed. We're capturing data from that, and that'll be used as a catalyst to go and develop a commercial version and install it on an operating feed barge. That's the next step. And we also have our microgrid and Garden Island, as I mentioned, which is the solar battery system with potential wave connection that's there from an pre-existing project. So they're the core of the activity that we're doing, and that forms a great basis for us to build on. Of course, we have to recognise the fact that this is achieved with a great team, starting with the board. Of course, we have a very esteemed board of directors. For instance, Terry Stinson, who is a Texan. He has had a long history in technology and marine with Mercury Marine. He's also worked for Siemens and many industrial groups over the years. We have Michael Fitzpatrick, Anthony Shields, who investors as well in new technologies and have been helping guiding the company. And Grant Mooney has been a long has had a long time at the company, working on our corporate side, which has been great. And then of course there's the management team, myself, Bridget and Alex. This is, I guess, the team that's guiding the broader group of engineers and commercial people to really take this technology to the next step. And these people really embody the passion that we have for the technology and where we want it to go. And just wrapping up, I hope you've learned a bit about wave energy and our CETO technology and our company, Carnegie. We're very passionate about what we're doing, and we'd certainly welcome you to be part of that innovation and join us as an investor. So we'll now move to the Q&A. Anthony Shields, one of our directors, is joining us in case there's some questions that are best answered by him. And I'm just looking at the Q&A list here, and I'll just start with one here that says, do you need permits approval to install your technology, and how long is the approval process? The answer to that is yes, of course. Yeah, we absolutely need approvals. The different jurisdictions obviously have different processes. The good news is that for all the projects I've mentioned that we're currently underway with, those consents are already in place, and there's a lot of test centres being developed or already in operation. There's the one we're going to in Spain, BMEP. There's EMEC in Scotland. There's the new one being developed in Oregon, which is getting close to completion. There's one that's likely to come up in Ireland. So, there's a number of these sites that can be used for those initial projects that already have their consents in place. And for more power, of course, we're going onto a pre-existing barge that already has its consents in place for the work it's doing. So that's solved. Okay, looking down to the next question, annual maintenance. So the question is, what type of annual maintenance is required on the CTO unit? So of course, devices in the ocean are exposed to a pretty harsh environment. The good news is there's been a lot of development in the ocean over the last 30 years in oil and gas and offshore wind and ports and harbours and things like that. So there is actually a lot of experience in relation to operating these kinds of equipment in the ocean. And so, but to answer the question, the type of maintenance, I mean, we target a 3-year cycle. And the other thing that's really important and in some ways unique to our technology is we have, from the beginning, taken the view that the most effective way to maintain these devices and the safest way is to actually recover them and bring them to shore. So we've made them very easy to tow, very easy to release from their connections to the seabed. And these features in particular, they allow us to do the maintenance in a very cost-effective manner. So, some technologies might need a big vessel with large cranes and divers and things. We've got no divers. We've got modest vessels that you can hire at short notice. So the maintenance strategy has really been baked into the design process the whole way through, and that's crucial because otherwise, if your maintenance is high, then the cost of energy equation just doesn't work for you.
And Jonathan, I might just make a comment there, if I can, in regards to the revenue model, which is a relevant question that's come through, and that modular design of the units is really critical to that, and it provides us scalability in terms of where we can deploy our units and our technology. So if I go specifically to the revenue model, we are an equipment, we're a technology developer, we're an equipment manufacturer, we are a project partner and an engineering services company. So we've got a multiple line of revenue sources, if you like. And once our technology is engaged in a project, we will have 20 years of annual recurring revenue from maintenance and other service engineering services, as well as the technology royalties, if you like.
Thank you, Anthony. We're running short of time, so there's a few quick questions here. So one of them is, how far is the wave farm situated from shore? Look, that's another advantage of our technology, is that we're very flexible in the way we can mount or connect to the seabed. So we have a belt which wraps around the drum of the power takeoff, but that transitions into a rope as it goes down to the seabed. So we can adjust that rope very easily for different sites. We'll nominally be in about 30 metres or 100 feet of water as a minimum. But then, of course, we can go up to really quite deep depths. I mean, in general, you want to be close to shore, so your cable that transmits the electricity doesn't have to be too long. So in general, we want to be close to shore, and that's something we can do because we're not above the surface and we don't have that visual impact that other devices like wind turbines and other wave types would have. And we've got one more question here, I think, or one time for one more. Can you speak to the current level of wave energy technology and what are the impediments to greater adoption? So wave energy is really is an emerging technology. the full-scale devices and large-scale devices are being demonstrated at the moment. The next step are arrays. So I think within a few years we'll have arrays. The greatest impediment is really access to capital to try and to drive the technology forward, and support from government as well. We're seeing good support in the EU, but Australia and the US have still got some work to do to catch up. But I'm pleased with the way the US is progressing under the Inflation Reduction Act. There's a lot of stimulation for new technology in the clean energy space. I'm not sure if we've got more time here, but I'll keep answering questions until someone tells me to stop. I've got here, how do the boats and ships know your device is there for safety purposes? Yes, well, as I mentioned, we're under the water, so they're not easy to see, but the wave farms have markers at the sort of perimeter of the farm, and of course these days all the vessels operate using digital maps and GPS and so forth. So we're not concerned about that, and that seems to be.
To wrap up here, Jono.
Pardon
me? We might have to wrap up there, mate. I think we're being asked to wrap up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for your time. Thanks for your questions.
Very happy to have one-on-one meetings if you'd like.